Hey viewers, I'm feeling even lazier than usual this week, so let's get back to the weapon mods, it's been too long. This time I'll look at mods that add the Uzi submachine gun to Fallout 4 because the game really needs a submachine gun that isn't this. And the Uzi 9mm is a lore-friendly weapon, kind of. Maybe, since it was in Fallout Tactics, which makes it a good candidate for any load order. I found 5 mods this time, listed on screen right now. I'm missing an old mini Uzi mod from 2016 that's only on Bethesda.net, but I don't even want to make an account there, it's not worth wasting my time. With no custom animations and very few attachments, that mini Uzi is a poor choice anyways. Of the mods I actually looked at, I liked the Uzi from Miami Misadventures Episode 1 the most. It has perfect animations and fits the Fallout art style incredibly well. I'm not the biggest fan of the quest required to inject it into leveled lists, so I would use the weapon level list patches mod to integrate it into the game more widely. Second best would have to be Subleader's IMI Uzi. It has great animations too, and many more attachments. Just make sure you get AnotherOne's add-on, and the leveled list injection fix mod, and the Randomized Attachments Project. You can find all that in the description. Subleader's Uzi is definitely more realistic, and better for those who want to do modern military stuff, but they're both great mods, you'd be happy with either. Alright, recommendations over, let's look at the mods in detail. First up is one that I recommended, IMI Uzi SMG. The mod has no uniques, and its leveled list injection plugin is non-functional. You need to use a separate mod to fix the injection, which I'll cover later. You can at least craft the Uzi at a chem lab. It's a 10mm weapon, but if you want it in 9mm, there's several Robco patches for munitions, caliber complex, and there's even a patch for tactical reload, so no matter what you're running, you should be able to get this gun up to snuff with the rest of your load order. The weapon doesn't have any modcols, so if the leveled list injection was working, you would always find a standard Uzi with no attachments on enemies. The Randomized Attachments Project has a patch to sort this issue out, but it requires AnotherOne's IMI Uzi add-on, which you may as well use, and I'll cover it later too. This gun's model is great, I think it's taken from one of the Insurgency games, and animations are excellent too, with a custom set for both first and third person. In power armor, unfortunately things are screwed up. You've got the double footsteps bug in first person, and a fucked up reload in third person. Interestingly, depending on the stock you attach, animations will change in first person. A folded stock gives you a one-handed grip on the weapon, an extended stock has you extend it during the draw animation, and a wooden stock makes you flip the safety or something instead. There's also minor animation differences based on the magazine type you load, which brings me to attachments in general. There's 14 receivers, 5 magazines, an advanced charging handle that lets you use optics, 13 scopes, 9 vertical foregrips, 7 muzzle devices, 4 side rail attachments, 6 barrels, 4 stocks, damage modifiers, and 19 materials. It's a great selection. Note that if you're not loading see-through scopes, the scopes category won't even appear in your weapons workbench, so keep that in mind. As for balance, it's perfectly fine. Maybe it outshines an automatic 10mm pistol, but not by an excessive amount, and it still weighs a lot more. It's definitely not too far out of line from vanilla weapons. There's an add-on called AnotherOne's IMI Uzi add-on, which simply adds wood and polymer grips and handguards to the attachment list, as well as glow sights. It's a small but worthwhile addition and required for the Randomized Attachments Project file. There's also a fix mod for the leveled list injector script, replacing the original faulty plugin file. Without this fix, you'll never find the Uzi anywhere, but with it you'll find the gun on raiders, gunners, vendors, bosses in general, and from legendary drops, starting at level 10. Second up, we've got Uzi's the Boss. It has no uniques or leveled list integration, but it does have a ChemLab crafting recipe. It comes in 38, 10mm, and 45 caliber chamberings, but if you want more, there's new calibers, caliber complex, and munitions patches available. If you want leveled list integration, you can use weapons level list patches, which makes the weapon spawn from level 13 on gunners, raiders, Nuka World raiders, triggermen, minutemen, the railroad, legendary enemies, basically everybody. It also adds working modcols. Note well though that the leveled list patch only works with the standalone animations version. You'll get a broken mess with the other version. Yeah, this weapon has 2 versions with completely different animations. A standalone version that uses War Daddy's Mac 10 animations, and a version that requires FX0X01's MP7 for its animations. Both versions have their own problems. The MP7 animations don't work with the leveled list patch, like I stated, and while the animations look nice, they're ill-fitting for an Uzi since the charging handle is in a completely different spot. They also have the first-person power armor double footsteps bug. Handmade rifle animations are used in third-person power armor, which look fine. War Daddy's animations are stiffer and lack third-person animations using 10mm ones instead, but at least they're a lot more appropriate for the weapon. There's also no double footsteps bug in power armor. The fast draw War Daddy animation is way too quick though, switching to this gun is literally instant. For attachments, there's a good variety. 6 receivers, 2 barrels, 4 stocks, 8 magazines, 2 sights, 7 muzzle attachments, 3 rail modules, a vertical foregrip, 4 materials for the EOTech and Spectre sights, 19 legendary Lucky Charms, which are useful if you're not using a leveled list patch, since you can't get a legendary variant otherwise, 2 suppressor materials, 4 gun materials, 3 caliber conversions, and damage modifiers. I like how the Lucky Charms actually dangle off the weapon's carry hook thingamajig, whatever it is. Adding a vertical grip changes the animations slightly for the MP7 version of the mod, but not with War Daddy's animations, and you've still got the double footsteps problem. This is definitely an extremely overpowered weapon if you make use of all the attachments available, but even ignoring the Lucky Charms, it is still really powerful. Overall, I'd much rather use Subleader's Uzi. It has its own problems, but this one has more problems. Third, we've got UZK-50GI, Smart Submachine Gun. I think this is a weapon ported over from Rainbow Six Siege. It's got a tactical reload patch, and someone has made a patch for Caliber Complex, but you're kinda SOL when it comes to munitions, I think. Anyways, there's no uniques, but there is leveled list injection from a plugin that adds the weapon to gunners, vendors, bosses, and legendary drops, starting from level 15. You can also craft the gun at a chem lab. It has no modcols, so enemies carrying the weapon will have a standard set of attachments. Strangely, this gun uses its own ammo type, the 50 GI round. I really wish it just used 10mm. The ammo is added to vendors and the Scrounger leveled list manually, so there's potential for conflicts with other mods. And this is done in the main plugin, so you can't just disable the leveled list plugin, you'd have to delete the records if you don't want the ammo type integrated. The weapon's got some decent animations, but it simply does not function in power armor. You can't equip it at all. Bashing kill moves are also broken. Usually the animation will cancel, but the enemy dies regardless. For attachments, there's 3 receivers, 4 stock lengths, a laser, 2 vertical grips, 3 types of bullets, 20 sights, 4 muzzle devices, and damage cheats. There's also several categories with only one option, and every category contains numerous spelling errors. The smart rounds change the animation so the weapon is held canted, but if you choose a semi-automatic receiver with smart rounds, there's an animation error. So don't do that. Smart bullets are great for shooting around cover, or if you're bad at aiming, I suppose. Explosive bullets don't work, they just fire blanks. That's a problem. Penetrator bullets let you shoot through anything, just like having the Penetrator perk in VATS, but of course it doesn't take material type into account. You can shoot right through brick walls. That's mostly Bethesda's fault, since they put the bare minimum amount of effort into the ballistic penetration system. You're supposed to be able to swap attachments on the fly with this gun, but the mod required to do that isn't on the Nexus anymore. I guess the weapon is overpowered considering the ridiculous ammo types it has, but it's got so many other problems, that's the least of my worries. I would suggest using a different Uzi. Fourth, we've got the compact submachine gun from Miami Misadventures Episode 1. The mod is incompatible with Subleader's IMI Uzi because it uses some of the same file paths, I guess. It's not a big problem since you'll most likely want to use only one mod or the other, not both. It's a 10mm weapon, but you can find patches for munitions to make it 9mm. And there's a tactical reload patch out there too. It has no pre-placed spawns, but there is a unique variant called Wild Goose. Appropriately, you have to go on a quest called Wild Goose Chase to find it. The quest isn't that hard, just listen to a radio broadcast, follow the quest marker to a corpse with a note on it. The note gives you a clue to go to the High Road near South Boston Military Checkpoint. By High Road, they mean overpass. There you'll find another body with a clue to find a safe. The safe is directly north of South Boston Military Checkpoint and is guarded by an easily dispatched NPC. Inside the expert-locked safe is the Wild Goose. For regular compact submachine guns, there's leveled list injection, but only on triggermen after level 25, and you have to complete the Wild Goose Chase quest first. Modcols are set up properly, so you'll find randomized variants, but there's so few triggermen in the game, you'll almost never see the weapon. That's why I'd recommend weapon leveled list patches to add it to more places. Appearance-wise, this is a beautiful weapon. I love the rusty look, and the animations are incredible. They remind me of Far Cry 2. There's custom animations in third person too, although the sounds don't quite line up with the animations. The grenade throw and sprint animations could use some extra work in first person, but overall the set is really good and better than Subleader's animations. In power armor, there aren't any problems in first person, and it uses 10mm animations in third person, which look perfectly fine. For attachments, there's 14 receivers, 4 barrels, 3 stocks, 2 magazines, glow sights, and a recon scope, 4 muzzle attachments, and 7 skins. If you select a longer stock, the animation set will swap to a two-handed one with different sprinting, throwing, and melee animations that generally look better. However, if you use such a stock in power armor, you won't be able to throw grenades anymore in first person. This isn't an issue outside of power armor or when using the short stock. As far as balance goes, maybe it's a bit on the powerful side damage-wise, but it's not a very accurate weapon. The fire rate is also surprisingly slow. I think it's perfectly fine, and actually more balanced than Subleader's Uzi. Besides the Uzi, Miami Misadventures adds animal masks and a Letterman jacket, along with a golf club melee weapon with 3 upgrades, but it's clear the Uzi is the main course, and it's a very filling one. Great mod. Fifth, and finally, we've got the Uzis from Modern Firearms. Modern Firearms adds both a full-sized Uzi and a micro Uzi. They're injected into leveled lists via scripted injection, and you'll be seeing them on enemies by level 10. The weapons have modcols set up, so enemies will spawn with randomized attachments. The weapons use Modern Firearms' 9mm parabellum ammo. The models for these babies are acceptable, although for some reason the full-sized Uzi's tactical handguard is fully black. Maybe there's a missing or broken texture there. Animations for both the micro and full-sized Uzi are pretty. They're War Daddy's Mac 10 animations, just like the standalone version of Uzi's The Boss, so there's no power armor footsteps bug, and vanilla 10mm animations are used in third person both inside and out of power armor. And of course, swapping to these weapons is almost instant. For attachments, the micro Uzi has 4 receivers, 2 barrels, 3 stocks, 3 magazines, 8 sights, 14 muzzle devices, and full or semi-auto fire modes. The full-sized Uzi has 4 receivers, 3 barrels, 5 stocks, 3 magazines, 16 sights, 14 muzzle devices, full and semi-auto fire modes, and side rail laser sights and flashlights. So the selection isn't terrible. Like any 9mm Modern Firearms weapon, these Uzis eject white shell casings. Why? I don't know, but at least they match Bethesda's white blood. As you'd expect from Modern Firearms, these weapons also do over twice as much damage as most vanilla weapons and have very loud sounds. NPCs use ammo when firing them, and it's not done in a thoughtful way like Wars or Frost. You'll find corpses with hundreds of rounds of ammo. That's just how Modern Firearms is, and that's why I don't like these weapons. It's because they're a part of this bloated weapon pack. If they were a standalone release with better balancing and a couple of changes, maybe they wouldn't be so bad. Anyways, there's your video this week. Hope you learned something from it. Make sure to keep checking the Nexus because a new Uzi mod is going to drop and make this whole video totally obsolete in, let's give it 2 weeks. Panchlornium out. Toodles!